It's almost time for part 1 to Palantir's Double Click series. In this video, I'll share some recent thoughts I've had about the event, what it means, what's going to be discussed, and by the end, I'll have shown you all the marketing material that has been released. Let's go. We had Demo Day, which was in January, and the introduction to publicly displaying Palantir's platforms to show how both Gotham and Foundry and even Apollo function. I recently noticed that they held Demo Day before their Q4 earnings report, and this part of the Double Click series is taking place ahead of their Q1 call, so I'd expect Palantir to continue this cadence and the Double Click series going forward ahead of every time they do a quarterly release, since they do show the little icons Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 on the webpage for the event. Hence, this could be a quarterly thing that they get going with. Any quarterly report from a public company is about how the business did for the previous 3 months. But I think it's important, especially for a company like Palantir, to keep investors up to date on what the software platforms themselves are capable of, what industries they're working with, and any partnerships they can highlight and explain from there. In Double Click, kicking off what I'll call the quarterly series at this point, they'll be featuring 2 industries out of the 40 they're involved with in total. If I had to make a prediction, it would be that they'd tick through each industry every quarter, getting eventually through all 40 that they say they're focused on by diving into perhaps 2 or 3 or 4 every quarter. I know they said on the Q4 call that they weren't necessarily initially planning to do this series. However, there really is just so much about Foundry in particular as such an open-ended platform that they had a tough time with the outreach on the initial Demo Day presentation, because it's just so hard to contextualize what the software can do when you're going for strictly an overview. So that's why they're breaking it down into these specific industries and what they want to share within those. So this time it's life sciences and industrials. I'm expecting it to be just as technical as Demo Day was, but I think they did a great job putting that one together. We'll see if they can refine how well it comes out, such as getting these speakers and presenters to be a little more engaging. But I think they did a great job with the graphics and everything last time. So it's a small gripe from me about reading off a script, but maybe they'll fix that this time around. And they certainly do have a lot of good marketing material for this one coming up, which is what I want to get through today. But first, it's important to clarify who the target audience is for this event. I do think it is partly for investors, institutional ones more than retailers, but any investor trying to learn about how the software works within a given industry. For anyone that thinks that these events are not for any kind of investor at all, my rebuttal is the fact that they are live streaming these events publicly on their investor relations page. So they are trying to educate investors to some degree, but overall, I'd say any of Palantir's demonstrations are for businesses or organizations looking to license PLTR software in their field of work. It's up to Palantir to pitch in the demonstration that anyone who uses the software will gain a competitive edge with whatever they're doing. So we'll see how well they're able to market that this time around. I wouldn't be surprised to see the stock be extra volatile this week. If we look at how the stock performed last time, it did have a very positive reaction ahead of and following the event, all the way up to an all-time high at $45. But then it kind of cratered. Palantir themselves are not trying to maximize the share price in my view, and thus won't be making this a pump the stock event. Nevertheless, I think there could be some fireworks, either if PLTR breaks up back to $30 or so, or falls to a new low if the anticipation to this event was all that was holding the stock above $20. I think the former is more likely, but either is possible. So as with the last event, we'll get an introduction from COO Sankar, and then this time we'll get to hear from the leaders of Palantir's life sciences business. So we'll get to hear from Kathleen, and Ben to learn how Foundry is accelerating clinical research and analysis of evidence. They'll explain that Palantir allows life science businesses to complete key operations, ensure data security, improve patient outcomes, and accelerate scientific discoveries through collaboration. They will show off how Palantir handles clinical research, biopharmaceuticals, healthcare providers, and drug discovery. Here's the official preview to that part of the event. Finally, the leaders of the industrials business, Sam and Liam, will reveal how Foundry is powering everything from field force optimization to Internet of Things and sensor data from connected cars. They'll explain that Palantir allows industrial businesses to optimize value and customer experience, produce safer products, unlock sensor data, and connect complex supply chains. And here's the official preview to that part of the event. So I do hope this final preview video has prepared you for the event. I encourage you to sign up for the event in the description before April 13th because that's when registration will close. But know that I'll release a supercut to the event once it's over. So let me know, what are you expecting from the stock, the company, or the media from this event? Until next time.